Cooper Union, an iconic New York landmark, is known for being an architectural masterpiece and beauty. To this day, Cooper Union is one of the most outstanding campuses in New York, with numerous buildings and each marvelous in its own way. There are many different parts of Cooper Union, including 3 different schools of study, housing areas, and architecturally most famous, the Foundation Building. The school was known for its architecture as soon as it was built. The plans for its construction were brought up by Peter Cooper, an American inventor, philanthropist, and industrialist. After the Foundation Building was finished, Cooper established the school in 1859. Peter Cooper always spoke about wanting equal opportunities for students regardless of gender, race, or religion. And when he had the idea for Cooper Union, he knew exactly the school he envisioned.
My design is to establish this institution in the hope that the unnumbered youth will here receive the inspiration of truth in all its native power and beauty, and find it in a source of perpetual pleasure to spread its transforming influence throughout the world.
Cooper's goals and ambitions are the reasons that the Foundation Building became a stellar architectural feat itself and also the perfect place to learn and study architecture. On September 17, 1853, the final cornerstone was laid on the Foundation Building of Cooper Union. After several years of hard work, innovation, and design, the building that was going to make Cooper's dreams come true was finally becoming a reality. The building represented so much more than just brick and iron. At the time, it was the tallest building in New York City, and this was a representation of genius, a genius that Peter Cooper hoped to share with all the world.
On this foundation, in this building, I trust that thousands yet unborn will here receive the inspiration of truth in all its native power and beauty, and find it in a source of inexpressible pleasure in spreading its transforming influence throughout the world.
It all began when Peter Cooper hired the architect Fred A. Peterson to build the Foundation Building. Peterson was a famous American architect from Prussia. He originally lived there, but was arrested after participation in the revolutions of 1848. He managed to escape prison with help from his wife and found refuge on a boat headed to America. While here, he worked as an engineer, architect, and designer. He was also one of the 13 founders of the American Institute of Architects. His plan and designs for the Union, as Cooper Union was known back then, were both forward-thinking and innovative.
I mean, the original building has a kind of robust, monumental, classical disposition, and because of the site being on a kind of triangular condition, no matter where you are, from whatever perspective you look at it, it's quite monumentalized. It's an object building. It is not part of the fabric of the city that frames around it.
There were several new and innovative aspects to the original design of the Foundation Building. First, Cooper wanted his building to be one of the tallest and largest in the world. To achieve this, there was a need for new infrastructure. What was available at the time was not nearly long enough or strong enough to support the building that Cooper wanted to establish. He sent his plans to the Trenton Iron Works in order for them to build the structure that he desired. They rolled him a 7-inch deep, 20-foot long wrought iron rail, weighing 90 pounds per yard. These turned out to be highly successful in maintaining the stability that they needed to keep such a tall building standing. Once they had the iron rails and beams, they were ready to start really putting the building together and designing the interior. One of the main and innovative aspects of the support system were hollow clay tiles. They covered the rails to make them look more attractive. Also, they were made to be fireproof, along with the bricks that were used. This idea was completely new and designed by Frederick A. Peterson. Another innovative idea that was utilized in the Foundation Building was an elevator shaft. Peter Cooper was so forward-thinking that although there was no elevator invented at the time, Cooper put an elevator shaft into his building because he figured that there would be one invented in the future. After he finished the structural aspect of the building, Cooper and Peter began to build their plans for the inside. The first and second stories were to consist of stores and shops, which opened up into 3rd and 4th Avenue. This would allow for money to be made so that the debts from constructing the building could be paid back. The 3rd and 4th floors were dedicated as the exhibition rooms. Here there would be galleries and little nooks where paintings and drawings could be explored. These floors were partial to light because a dome was built on top of the third floor to let in light. This allowed for greater viewing of the paintings held here. The fifth floor would hold a library and 2 lecture rooms. The lecture rooms, library, and small reading areas would all be interconnected to make for maximum availability between the rooms. There would also be a small room with equipment for performing labs and scientific experiments. The final floor of the foundation building was the Great Hall. It was put in the basement of the building and would be a huge lecture hall that would accommodate hundreds of people for speeches and lectures and learning. The Great Hall is known for having hosted numerous presidential speeches, one of which was made by Abraham Lincoln, which came to be known as the Cooper Union Address. 3 renovations have been made to the foundation building since the original building was made. In 1884 and 1891, Leopold Eadlitz made renovations to the foundation building. Eadlitz was a successful architect and built numerous buildings, and is rumored to have built the Trinity Church at the head of Wall Street. He also redesigned the capital of New York in Albany. He wrote the book, The Nature and Function of Art, more especially of architecture, sharing his knowledge. He had to renovate the building after there were many insufficiencies in the foundation and other aspects. He replaced windows, changed the piers, and changed the interior walls. He also was able to heighten the distance from the 3rd floor to the 4th floor by adding octagonal columns to the 5th floor ceiling. None of these changes compared to the 3rd and final renovation of the foundation building made by John Hayduck in 1971. Hayduck was an educator of Czech origin and was a professor at Cooper Union. In a short time, he became the dean of the architectural school until he died in 2000. His renovations on Cooper Union were on the inside of the building while completely preserving the exterior. He planned to use a 5-stage plan, but after completing the first step, all of the other stages were done at the same time. To keep the building standing during the work, numerous trusses were made to keep the structure stable. The entire southern portion of the building had to be scrapped, and only the elevator shafts remained.
There's several additions that have been made on top, but also a significant renovation on the interior by John Hayduck, if I'm not wrong, in the 70s.